Welcome, guys.
Happy Tuesday.
We just need to stop saying the day, bro.
I said happy Monday.
Yeah, we're just going to stop saying the day.
Good, man.
Happy whatever day it is, guys.
I was going to let you, maybe we should let you have an intro. You know, like
shoot.
when the song is like talking about running from the law.
Don't
you're
get
just
crazy.
Like,
Don't
you
get
got your
crazy.
little marijuana in your hand and you're like, yeah, bro.
Hey, I'm born again, bro. I don't do that anymore.
Oh, stop it.
Born again.
Temporarily.
Welcome to...
You quit weed, I quit carbs.
Welcome to the Day One $0 podcast, guys.
What's up, guys? Hey, great topic today. I'm not sure what you put for the headlines, but we're going to be talking about small wins today. It's going to bleed into some other topics or not necessarily other topics. It's going to bleed into a thought process on how to approach small wins, what they mean, I guess, from my lens and how I see them. Obviously, I can only speak to kind of how I see things or my experience. So I want to share that stuff. And if it's for you, awesome. If for not, hey, listen, take what you can from this. I think one of our biggest missions on the podcast is to try to create thinkers, right? So if we solidify some answers for you, great. And if you disagree with us and you can solidify your own reasonings for why you do stuff in contrast to the podcast, hey, great. Problem solved for you, right? So definitely want to have some thinkers and create people that go out there and just really attack. But a great topic today, man. If you guys are listening right now, you can find, on Facebook. Obviously, we go Facebook Live, but we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all that fancy stuff Eli talks about. Go leave a review if you've got questions and you want us, or a topic you want us to talk about. We'd love it.
Helps a ton.
Yeah, today's one of my favorite, man. It's starting to turn into one of my favorites because I got to the.
There we
Now,
go.
in full disclosure, there's gum in my mouth, and I got a notebook out. See that? No PowerPoint, but a notebook, and that's okay. We're going to be super raw, and we're going to kind of come at this from an organic angle. So the topic, is small wins. I think you can kind of figure that out for yourself before we kind of get into this. But, mainly like, hey, how do we implement small wins, into our process? What are they good for? So I've got a couple bullet points that I want to talk about today. I'm just going to go over my bullet points, and I'm going to let you kind of speak about yours, and then we'll go back and just consolidate, have a discussion on it.
Let's do it.
But a big one for me with small wins is not compared to anyone else. So small wins for you, as in this could be as small as like, did you get your ass out of bed on time today? Like, yeah, that's a small win. That's a win. And look, it's okay. And there's a reason why we're calling them small wins. It's okay to have these small wins, and sometimes that's all you got to fall back on. And sometimes your small win might go back as small enough as just getting out of bed on time and getting after it.
It's true.
That's okay.
It's true.
And this is not compared to anyone else's small win. This is not compared to anyone else's big win. Look, if you already feel like you're a 9 out of 10 that day because you got out of bed on time, that's for you. Okay, so like. And I'll kind of go back into some examples later on when we get through these bullet points. But my second bullet point was just really emphasizing this is for you, not for anyone else, okay? Embrace your phase. So when we go over small wins, understanding what phase you're in and why these small wins are important. So giving an example, everyone knows that we do real estate. We own a real estate team. At some point, we were new to that, okay? At some point, just studying and getting our license and just having someone message us, and getting a response that they want to talk about, maybe buying a property, selling a property. I remember to this day the first time I went under contract on a home. On the first home that I was on, the first one I ever did, it was a buy side. And I remember winning that offer, and we went under contract. I remember what that felt like. It's a small win. It might feel huge in that moment, and it's okay to embrace it because, look, you're new. And it's okay to be new and understand that, look, there might be guys that have been around for a long time or that are crushing or whatever that, dude, like, for example, let's just be real. You and I, like, having our team achieving top 1% nationwide for Berkshire, I don't dance every time we're under contract. I don't even have an emotional response toward it. I'm dialed in for the process now and preparing for the emotional side of things, the negotiation side of things, being a team player with this other agent, making sure that we keep this deal together with everything we have. I have no emotional response toward being under contract, right? It's just a step. However, it's just not a small win for me anymore. But back in the day, it was. So as you grow, your small wins may change now, and that's okay too. But just reflecting back on, like, it's okay that it almost felt like a big win to me because of where I was at, and I was embracing being new, right? So, but with that being said, my next bullet point that I want to talk about today and kind of cover is always striving to be better. So embrace your phase, right? If you're new to something, please embrace these small wins. But at the same time, still strive to be better. Okay? And with that being said, it's going to lead me to my ultimate point today. Don't be fake. Or, in layman's terms, don't be fucking fake. Okay? Like, don't think that you got to fake it till you make it. Don't allow your insecurities to make you feel like you got to be more than you are.
Okay.
Because the problem is, like, never embracing your phase, never celebrating small wins, never having that true to yourself just moment of remembering what it was like to be new. You have no story.
See, so
if you want to fake it till you make it and just act like you're some expert or act like you're super accredited when you're not, man, what's your story? You don't have one. You got to pretend like you've been there before.
Right.
So you're never embracing these small wins, which means you might never make it. Because you're never going to have like those feel goods of like what you're doing. And if you do feel that, it's got to be a secret because God forbid, right? Like you open up about something like that, and then people realize you're just faking it.
Right,
you know,
right.
So you can't and I'm saying like, hey, don't be fake. Don't be smoke and mirrors. Yes, of course, if you're in sales for the sake of other people, but at the same time for yourself, you are missing out on so much by just embracing this phase, being true to yourself, going through a process, having a story to tell start to finish, man. Like it's so important, dude. Like, especially nowadays with digital, with social media and digital marketing, like you can really be true to yourself. And I'm partial to this because, man, the insecurities I had starting an Instagram page when I left the fitness company and I was starting at nothing, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm literally...
Yeah, you didn't even have a page at all, right?
No, because I was running a fitness page. So I was all over that one. Everyone knew who we were. I was running that one. I didn't necessarily need my own page, man, because I wasn't a personal brand at that point. I wasn't doing, we were doing Fit Republic. But I had a Facebook. Okay, cool. But then when I just say, hey, look, I'm not running this Instagram anymore. Like, hey, I should probably have my own. I'm me now. Dude, just sitting in my car that was too expensive, that I knew I was going to be getting rid of, creating that Facebook page, I knew, man. And I was like, man, like, I don't care who laughs at me.
Yeah.
I don't care who's going to think like I'm full of crap or, hey, this is corny or like whatever it may be, man. Like, if you stand the test of time and you come out on top, it's no longer corny. It's no longer fake. It's no longer people laughing at you. It's like, man, like, guys really doing it. And man, I wasn't doing it for them in the first place. Right. Like, but I knew to keep myself accountable. I knew with everything else that I had done in life, being a new Marine, there ain't no secret there. You're fucking new. And look, man, they're hard on you, but they're not making it like it's not okay to be new.
Right.
Oh, it's more than okay to be new. Here's just the pile of shit that comes with it.
Everyone's been through it. And that's the thing, dude. Like, people just need to realize that, at least on that point. And then I want to go back to your first one and kind of go back through and digest these a little bit. But when it comes to that fake shit, man, like, it's okay to be new. Everyone's new. You're not laughing at a kid for not knowing how to walk, right? When he's just crawling, it's just part of the process. And like you said, if you try and skirt that process, not only are you just going to look like you're full of shit and people are never going to trust you again, but you're taking so much of the process out. Like a 16-year-old trying steroids. It's like, dude, you're fucking your shit up, man. Like, you're leaving a lot on the line by not just utilizing your natural testosterone.
Yeah. Or like another example for those of you that don't roid. It's okay. We don't hate you. Imagine like lying about driving a stick shift.
Oh, yeah. A lie's only going to get you so far,
and
bro.
then like, you've got to like drive mom or dad or grandma on the highway. Or like something happens and someone's having a medical emergency and you have to drive them somewhere. Oh, shit. Like, not only are you putting yourself at risk, you're putting other people at risk. And at the same time, it didn't even need to be said in the first place.
And it's okay.
Yeah, man. So when we talk about small wins, I'm going to give some examples for me, right? So when I left that fitness company, so, a lot of you have heard the story. I'm not going to get into the entire story, but got rid of cars, man. Sold off cars, got rid of everything, significant other, daughter staying at her parents' house. I'm in my buddy's mom's Y2K pantry. Legit, right? Fig Newtons, Campbell's soup, distilled water. They had these, side note, they had these like organic Fig Newtons. I buy them to this day. They're phenomenal. They're like really thick.
Not the normal Toll House ones?
No idea why they were down there. Apparently like organic.
Oh, those are the ones from like Costco, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Wherever they're from.
I love those.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah. Two in
Might
one
have gained
pack.
a couple pounds.
Yeah, I got you.
Stress eating those in the pantry. Listen to me. If you're a stress eater, the last place you should sleep is a pantry.
Oh shit.
Okay, that's me. Thank God.
Go to
like
hit the snooze button. Instead, you just grab some Fig Newtons.
Oh man, they were delicious.
Yeah.
Doesn't food taste so good when you're stressed? Like,
I love food, bro.
Right?
Yeah, I'm an emotional eater.
That's one of me too.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of mine. Obviously, I'm a lot more accredited at being an emotional eater than you are. A little skin and
a
bones.
lot of emotion.
Eli with a 6-pack over there talking.
Right.
Well, I get either you are full of shit or
Just zero emotion.
you just never have emotions.
That's it.
But giving some examples, right? Like passing my exams. Actually, prior to that, just putting myself down for 8 hours a day and studying. Man, I hadn't studied since college.
Right.
And prior to that, like Marine Corps, and so you doubt yourself. Like, man, do I even know how to study anymore? No. But I remember like how I used to be good at studying. I was very, I like video. I like taking notes during video and then reading in addition. And all right, so cool. So fall back on what you know. But it was just a win to like, because when I first started studying for real estate, man, those first couple of weeks, man, I was bullshitting, man. I'd study, but not really. Yeah. I'd take 2 days off.
It's
I'd find a reason
terrible.
not
It's
to.
dry.
You just fear,
awful.
man. You're starting something new. You're going to start flailing in the water when you don't know how to swim, right? Like at first you're going to try to be calm, and you realize that that's not working and you don't know how to do it. And then you start flailing around. Same thing, man. Like you're excited to start some entrepreneurship. Cool. You venture out, freedom. And then it sinks in, and then you're kind of like, you're flailing around. So you're dodging stuff, man. And I kept going back to the old company that I used to work for and seeing the guys. Because, I left on good terms, man. It's no bad blood at all. And then I caught myself and I go, hey, man, I'm going back to my old company for 3 hours a day. Then I'm going to the gym. I'm just dodging reality. So I literally, politely, unfollowed all of them and blocked them. And then I told them, hey, guys, unfollowed you, blocked you. Here's where I'm at. I got to focus. Don't take any offense to it. They all laughed. One of them was my cousin. Phenomenal dude. They all got a good laugh out of it, right? So just the ability to identify my behavior and then blocking.
That's huge, man.
And so I went to a different gym because headquarters was like right next to my gym that I used to work out at. So I'm like, okay, next couple of months, I got to change my gym because I can't go park in the same parking lot as my old company's headquarters that's right next to my normal gym.
Right.
I'm going to go in. Temptation. I want to see my homies. So I switched gyms, blocked my boys, told them I blocked them, right? Man, just a small one of like just identifying your behavior, knowing that you're dodging what you should be focused on and diving in.
Identifying is huge, man.
Huge.
That's
man.
like the first step.
Yep. So I identified that, right? So that was a win for me. And then dude, just waking up every day and then just getting after it for 8 hours a day. It was like, hey man, I won today. I was productive. I learned something. I got through a module, took some notes, passed that chapter exam. Hey man, good on you, dude. That's a win. And then I just got to stack these wins every day. I didn't celebrate them. I didn't post them on social media. I didn't tell everyone about them. They were for me.
Yeah, but you recognize.
And look, I'm not here to put my wins up against anyone else's wins. Like, you might learn how to swim and tread water. Like, man, I treaded water for 30 seconds today. Someone might have been born knowing how to tread water. Some people are just amazing in the water. Look, that's okay, man. Like, what's hard for you, just because it's not hard for someone else, doesn't make any less or more of your win. Some people are just more talented in other areas. There might be some things, man, that I can just wake up and do that people have to try their whole life to do.
Yep.
One of them was baseball.
Yep.
Okay, I threw the ball super hard, and I was born left-handed. I had a great fastball and a great curveball. Integrity, man, I was not working that hard at it. Lefties, we throw the ball slanted as it is, bro. Some of it's just born. So should I put more weight behind that skill set compared to someone else has to try every day at it? No, man. Like, it's not true, because what's subjective is like the amount of effort that goes into something. So
real quick on that. So when you're identifying these small wins, right? How do you keep yourself from, and I guess integrity is the answer. I probably answered it for you, but how do you keep yourself, man, from, I know there's people out there that are going to give themselves way more credit than they should for wins when it's something like you just said, like, hey, you were born with a fucking 6-pack, man. Like, you didn't work for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think it's always striving to be better, right? Because the integrity is going to fall with you, right? And then sometimes we're going to compare ourselves to others, or we're at least going to like peek our head up and see where everyone else is at, right? Like, you ever see like people swimming in the Olympics and they're going, they're focused on themselves. The second they touch the wall, they're looking around. I think every once in a while we're going to pick our head up into the clouds and kind of see where everyone else is at, and we're going to gauge ourselves, and I think that's okay. So the integrity part is just knowing, like, okay, if you're going to be happy with a small win, you've got to be able to process that. Everything okay over here? Oh, okay. If you're gonna celebrate like that small win, you got to have the integrity with being honest with yourself that you really are putting your best foot forward. Because if you're putting your best foot forward, man, you can be proud of that small win. And at the same time, having the integrity to understand that, like, you can't always compare yourself to others, man.
Yeah.
You got to be really careful with that. It should be few and far between. If you want to pick your head up, like you and I, man, we look at what's going on in the real estate world. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest, we don't really know we're top 1%. Like, we know what that means. We know what that is. And then when the awards come out is usually when we find out. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that because I'm focused on.
Well, you're playing the game. You're not watching the scoreboard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but it's okay to look at the scoreboard sometimes and like kind of wonder where we're at. And it does give you a gauge if you can keep your integrity with it. But it kind of comes down to, you know, you've got to have a goal of what you want to accomplish, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, one of those goals was like passing my real estate exams, your national and your state. So, hey, cool. You know, be happy that you studied for 8 hours today. Okay, be happy. But I'm still striving to be better, as in, look, this is all going to add up to hitting this incremental goal of just passing my real estate exam. So I think organically, if you've got that goal in mind, you're only going to allow yourself to celebrate for so long because I got to do that small win every day. Mm-hmm. So it's short-lived.
Right.
But if your work ethic isn't there and you allow that celebration to be long-lived, man, like you can't sleep on a win, right? Because you'll wake up with a loss. Famous quote, right? Conor McGregor. So I think what keeps the integrity of a small win is making sure you have a goal. And that goal needs to have a deadline. So I had already scheduled my test. I knew when my test was going to come. So my days were numbered. I had to have a win after win after win. So I did the math on it. And if I was completing a chapter every single day, that left me 8 days of study time to review before my exam. So I wanted to get through all the chapters. And then on the CRE online course, you have a final for national and exam. Because then you get your certificate from school. You take that certificate, it says, hey, I passed my school. I can now get my proctored test.
Yep.
That's in person. So I knew, okay, once I passed my final, you know, for national and for state on the school, I wanted that day to end 8 days prior to my actual test. Because now I've got 8 days to go back and remember this shit I forgot going through the whole course. So I used the state and the national as like, I would go back into those tests and I would review them.
Yeah.
But then I would also go back in and dabble into some of the chapters, and I gave myself that buffer. So I did the math on it and I figured out what buffer I wanted to review. But then I had I'd already paid for and scheduled my school, or excuse me, my proctored exams. So every short win or every small win was short-lived because I had to repeat that every single day. So having a goal and having a deadline where you want to accomplish that goal, it makes every day relevant.
It does.
And if every day is relevant, then that short win, I think, naturally remains a short win because you can't live on it. Well, the next day you got to get up and get going.
Here's why I like doing it that way, man, because I'll use bodybuilding, for example. You know, I had zero anxiety. I had zero stress coming into a competition because I knew that whole prep, yes, I understand that end goal is like in sight, right? And that's on a date, and that's something that I'm doing, and I'm signed up and I'm committed. However, once I was committed to that, I knew I could take that completely off my shoulders and out of my brain. I don't need to worry about that competition at all. Have zero stress and anxiety about it. All I need to worry about is eating this meal right here. And then 2 hours later, eating this meal right here. Doing my workouts a certain way, doing every single minute of cardio I was supposed to do. And that was all my wins throughout the day was like, all right, just get through this workout, this
Correct.
meal,
But
this
you
meal.
also had a buffer, and this is important. I want to bring this up because you've spoken to me before. Most people do like a 12 or 16 week prep.
Yep.
You did a 6 month.
12. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, fuck
doing
them.
that in 12.
Yeah, fuck 'em. I've never even done a prep. Fuck you, pussy. No disrespect to pussy. It's okay to be one. It's not. You talked about having like a 6 month prep because you're like, hey, I know that doing my diet prep, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to miss a meal. I'm going to forget how to cook something. I'm not going to buy the right stuff at the grocery store. I'm not in the zone.
Yeah.
So if I start 16 weeks out from my show, 4 of those weeks are going to be fucked because, or not fucked, but they're going to be
learning curve, getting in the zone.
So you did, I don't know if it was 6 months, but I think you did like a 4 week or 6 month.
Yeah, it's 6.
You had time prior to your actual prep to get,
Yeah.
You hit your 16 weeks in stride.
Yeah. Plus, I didn't like stress, dude. Like those 12-week people, man, like they're cramming. And given I was cramming as well, but I knew I had time on my side.
But you gave yourself that buffer knowing like, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. This is a new prep. Every show was probably different for you, but hey, I'm going to make mistakes. I got to have some room for error. Let me dial this in. So again, just embracing the phase that you're in and understanding
like this is new.
There's going to be mistakes that should happen, right? Yeah. You know, like the first time you learn how to drive a car, should you have all your friends in it? Probably not. Okay, you should probably just go kill yourself before you kill everyone else. Okay,
yeah.
But again, you still had a deadline for the show. Hey, I'm doing this show at 6 months out. And you allowed for some errors to happen. So you hit that 16 weeks in stride. You won your shows. Phenomenal, right? But there's a prep behind that. But again, embracing the phase you were in, understanding that, but you still had a deadline. So I think what we're trying to get at least with this one, is if you want a small win, if you want to be able to embrace and enjoy a small win, but allow it to stay a small win and not get on a soapbox and not gloat about it, you've got to have a goal in sight that's got a deadline to it, because now you've got to have several small wins that add up to that goal. And dude, just the goal of, I passed my state and national exam. Ooh, big deal. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of bonehead agents out there. Some of them I have no idea how they passed, because some of that test, it's semi-difficult.
Dude, you're telling me, man. Yeah.
You know, like the math kind of sucks.
That is a hard test. Semi-shit. That was a hard fucking test,
dude. Here's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I did my highest score, I think, was math.
Really?
And I don't consider myself a high mathematician. No. However, guess what, dude? Math is black and white.
Yeah.
If you read a question and you understand what it's asking and you put the right formula in, it's black and white.
Yeah.
Some of those questions on that test, it's so circumstantial to what they want you to answer with.
Well, and they say this too. There's 3 right answers, but they want you to pick the most right answer.
Correct.
You're like, oh, fuck.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was just, just remembering stuff like that. So, but hey, is that still a goal? Yeah. So these small incremental wins to achieve like this incremental goal. The overall goal was to not just be licensed.
Yeah.
But it's still a goal. And you got to have that. So small wins into these incremental goals, and then so on and so forth, right? So, but to answer your question, I think they stay small if you set your goal and your deadlines up to, you're forcing them to be small. Does that make sense? They're going to be short-lived because you got to do that the next day.
Yeah.
Now, if I have no deadline, if I haven't bought my real estate school exam yet, and I have no deadline, dude, I'm like, I fucking crushed Monday. Hey, bro, it's Friday. But there's no deadline, so you allow yourself to get distracted. So you've got to have a system in play to allow yourself not to get distracted. We've kind of hit on this already, man, but we're going to jump right into it. And this is not for anyone else. And I'll mention something very shortly, and then we're going to move on, because I've kind of already mentioned this within the goal stream, or the small win stream. This is about you. This is about your self-esteem. This is about your integrity. And look, if something was hard for you and you got something out of it, it's for you. You don't have to make it about everybody else. If someone else gets right out of bed and they're just jumping in their 30-minute meditation and crush the gym, and maybe you're going through some stuff and just literally getting out of bed before 9 o'clock a.m., like that's a win. 11 a.m., whatever it is, if that's a win, you don't need to compare it to anyone else. You don't need to be ashamed of it. What you got to remember is like, look, I just got to get better every day. And then what about my day can be better? And that doesn't mean that, okay, Monday I woke up by 11 a.m. Okay, so tomorrow it needs to be 9 a.m. Not necessarily. Maybe Tuesday, or maybe that whole week, you're still waking up at the same time, but what you did during that day became more productive.
Right.
But maybe just establishing that you get up by 10:59. Hey, let's just keep that for a couple weeks and then work on what you're doing during the day.
Yeah. But
those small wins matter. And if some of your wins come easy to others, it doesn't matter. And dude, I promise you, like a lot of the small wins I had, I don't even talk about. I'm bringing them up today because I want people to have some context for themselves on where it's okay to be happy with yourself, and but also understand these type of wins don't necessarily need to be celebrated with everyone. This is where you're building your own integrity, your own work ethic, and your own self-pride that you're taking steps in the right direction.
Yep. Well, and I'll tell you, man, anyone that tells you that goals are accomplished any other way other than like what Will is telling you guys right now, then they've probably not accomplished very many goals in their life, because the small things are everything, guys. Like literally the smallest little thing that you can do on a daily basis, added up consistently over time, can add up to such huge things. And, that's where I do kind of have a hard time with the whole, like, aim for the moon and you'll land among the stars sort of thing. Because anytime I've aimed for the moon, man, I don't even get off the goddamn ground.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, too. Like, you mentioned the word huge. Like, hey, if you guys are doing these things, like, this can add up to huge things. That's also subjective. What's huge for you? What might be your huge goal for the year or for a 2-year goal? What's huge for you could be different than someone else. That is also okay. Now, those should still be celebrated. You should feel good about them because it's progression for you and for where you're at. And I think when people say these cliche statements or or they're out there like preaching something but not necessarily practicing it, well, that's the smoke and mirrors, man. That's the downfall of social media and internet at scale, because we can just go onto YouTube and hear a bunch of like people say a bunch of cool shit, and well, now we can just go repeat it, but we don't necessarily have our own story to speak on it. We don't have a lens to even speak from. We have no perspective on it. We're just falling back on saying everyone else's shit. And this is like, and I've talked to Gavin a little bit on this before, one of our friends, and he's asked my opinion of people sometimes, and I go, hey man, remember when like you heard a song on the radio, or one of your friends had a really good CD and he copied it and the quality is a little bit lower, but it's the same words?
Yep.
I think people are smart, man. I think people will see through you. And I feel like a copied CD, I could put that in right now. Like if I copy the Black Album from Metallica, right? And you remember it. If I don't tell you it's a copied CD and I slide it into a stereo right now, you feel that quality. It's lower. You're just like, it's not quite there. And I feel like those are the folks that are just trying to regurgitate other people's material, but they don't necessarily have any perspective. Their entire story is telling stories versus having
and not their own stories too. If it's your own stories, it's different, but then you're going to feel that genuine thing. And here's the thing, there's not that many new ideas out there, right? So you guys listening, maybe on this particular thing, well, everything's kind of been said. Here's the thing though, but coming from your lens and from your perspective,
it can be different.
And original content from you, maybe ultimately, you're saying the same general idea, but...
And there's going to be new innovative ideas as you get more specific, okay?
So as you develop too.
Right, exactly. So for example, vehicles, okay? Like there's an ideology behind like a round wheel and a round tire and it moving forward and backward and turning left and right, and if it smashes a fucking wall, something pops out so you don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. Not much of that's going to change. However, the technology within cars and how they predict car accidents. Now, all of a sudden, you've got sensors around a car that'll slam on your brakes for you, even if you're not looking.
Right.
So it's not a new idea that we have to stop when we're approaching a vehicle in front of us. The technology behind the vehicle to stop it for you because you're texting is now implemented, right? So battery operation like Tesla's, it's still powering a vehicle, right? But the power source and the technology behind it and how they're going about it is different. But the fundamentals of a round tire and moving forward and backwards and turning left and turning right. And having to stop the vehicle, having to accelerate a vehicle, how fast a vehicle can stop, how fast a vehicle can accelerate. A lot of these things are like, yeah, man, we've heard them. That's just what cars and trucks do. Yep, but how they're going about it, the technology and the innovation behind a car being able to stop it for you because you're not fucking paying attention. This is what I'm getting at. There's going to be a lot of fundamentals we talk about that, people have talked about. But when you get into specifics in industries and new innovative ways to approach something, this is where change happens.
Yes.
That's why people's lens are so important. That's also why it's so important for you to stay in your lane and stay in your lens, because you're so... like the ability for you to speak and be innovative there, it's so powerful. Like, for example, who would have thought a cop would be great at real estate? I did. Finding ways to manage people's emotions. And, dude, our buyer presentations, our listing presentations, how we handle the client process, it's a completely different approach. It's very innovative. Now, it's fundamentally sound, but it's from a completely different perspective that kind of organically grew from my experience and how I bridged the gap between my experiences in real estate and how this makes me a better agent. But again, that's my lens. I had to be me going into real estate. I can't be someone else.
Nope.
I got to be me. But being me allowed me to be innovative. Right? So super important piece right there for you guys to understand is, you're right, man. Fundamentals are going to be talked about and they're repetitive. Where we get innovative is through our lenses, guys, and how to be specific and hyper-focused to a process where we can make changes.
Yeah, and the side note to that is continuing to be who you are throughout that process, because you are the X factor. If the information's kind of in general the same, you are the X factor. So if you're trying to be someone else and you're not allowing yourself to be you, it's not going to work.
No, man, not at all, right? So this kind of like, so we talked about embracing your phase. Like, it's okay to be new. Right. So like when I was first on social media talking about real estate, no one was using me. So I had a big sphere, and we had this question before from our agents, from public talks. there was an assumption that because I had a huge following from being a police officer and a fitness company, and you're just out there, man, especially with the fitness company, you're throwing events, you're friend requesting people and they're accepting it. And, you know, there's a lot there, but everyone knew I was new. Everyone respected me. I had a good word out there. I'd like to think from what I could tell. So man, when I was like posting stuff about real estate, man, like I was getting several hundred likes, you know, support, encouragement. I wasn't getting any transactions from them. Right. So, but look, man, that's okay. I didn't expect anything from them. I'm new. I'm going to embrace this phase. I know what I'm getting into. And if I'm going to ever get anything from them, I've got to start I'm not going to fake it because they're going to know I'm faking it. But I need to document what I'm learning. What can I, what am I doing? What's working? What's not working? And we did that, man. Once a week we would do that. I got a lot of business from outbound. So people from the gym, people from the coffee shop, people from my daughter's school who knew me but didn't know what I did for a living. When I started having those guided conversations, well, because they knew me, they trusted me. They didn't know that they were my first deal. They didn't know they were my first sell. Right? I actually told the guy he was my first listing. He fucking laughed at me.
Yeah.
But again, I had an advantage there because they trusted who I was. They trusted my word, but didn't know I was new. My social media knew I was new. And then about 7 months in, I think is when I started getting more transactions from our social media. But man, we were doing a lot of documentation on what's working, what's not working, what's the market doing, what's it not doing, what does this mean? Hey, all this jargon, what does that mean for you? And not trying to be romantic, just embracing that we're new and just learning as much as we can. And how can I bring value to that crowd? So embrace that phase. It's okay to be new. Don't think that you got to fake the funk. Matter of fact, people know better. Okay, huge for that. I don't know if you want to add something to that, but
I mean, I think just being authentic to who you are, and I hate the fucking word. It's way overplayed, but it's the right word in this situation. It comes out of your mouth, and I'm just like, authentic. But being authentic to who you are, dude. Every time I've done that, man, I've always fucking won. Every single time. When we were starting our team and we have agents coming on, and it's like, hey guys, we don't have leads. We're a new team. All the other shit that teams like promote. We don't have any of that. And that ended up being our greatest
asset.
It was.
But we were proficient in what we were. Right? So that was huge. And I think something that goes with, it's like, man, how are you okay? Like, okay, we'll embrace this phase and like be okay to fuck, man, there's insecurities and there's fear and all this stuff. Yeah, man. I felt that. Understand, not to be on a soapbox, but my pedigree from the Marine Corps and what I'd accomplished there, my pedigree from police work and what I accomplished there now, and then helping build a fitness company to just about 14 stores in 2 years, and then I'm sleeping in a pantry, getting rid of cars. Oh, boy.
Yeah, if anyone was scared, it was you, man.
Dude, I'm just like, who am I? Like, what? Dude.
Into real estate. Golly, man. Man.
Right? Like, don't even get me started on that. And, but understand, when you're, it's easier. It's not going to be easy, but it's easier to embrace your phase when you understand that phase is temporary.
Yes.
As long as, my next bullet point, you are striving to be better. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have sight, and if you aren't striving to be better every day, and there's no progress, and there's no small wins to celebrate with yourself, then it's hard to embrace your phase, because this phase right here of being new, this is now just your reality. This is now who you are. And it's not who you are, it's where you're at. Okay, we had a guy in our networking group that wanted to lose 100 pounds, and he couldn't even grasp it. And I said, listen, man, you don't have to lose 100 pounds. You need to lose 5 pounds 20 times. And it opened his eyes. Okay, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, like, yeah, man. Hey, listen, one bite at a time. And I asked him, hey, man, what's the most amount of weight you've lost before? He said 15 pounds. And then I gained it right back. I said, that's okay. Don't worry about that. But you've lost weight before. Yeah, I've lost 15 pounds. Okay, so you've lost 5 pounds 3 times before. Yeah. Hey, man, you've done it before. Look, man, we just got to do that 5 pounds 20 times. Now, as you get lower and lower and lower, you got to get more and more dialed in. But by the time
you're also more athletic and
by
better,
the time you shed 60 pounds and that last 40 is a little different, hey, man, you're mentally dialed in and you're motivated and you've got momentum and you're prepared to learn more and learn about what it's going to take for that final 40. You're going to be there. Let's not cross that bridge right now, because we're not there. We're 60 pounds away from that bridge. Let's just create some habits that you've learned before to do this, right? So understanding that piece. But again, when I say, look, this is not who you are, this is where you're at. When I say that to myself, it means something to me. But I also understand that I've got to have a goal with a deadline, okay? because that validates, that makes every day valuable. That also allows me to celebrate these small wins. And most importantly, that's setting me up to strive to be better. And then that phase that I'm so embarrassed about or insecure about or uncomfortable in, it's temporary. Because over time, man, I'm working my way through it. And all of a sudden, I'm in a phase where I'm super proud. And then guess what happens when you're on top? And you're in the phase of being on top? You're humble. And you're able to speak to people that are at the bottom because you remember where it fucking came from. Man. You remember the work. Now, you're also prideful because you want people to do the work. If you're fucking faking it, I'm going to come talk to you, especially if you're around me. We got to have a conversation because the integrity behind what we're doing. Look, man, you're not going to earn your Eagle Globe and Anchor without going through. Okay, there's a reason why Marine Corps boot camp is brutal, right? And it's not just physically challenging. It's the psychological stuff that you go through, man. Like, it's supposed to be hard. You're new, and everyone in boot camp is new, and it's you versus the drill instructors. And the drill instructors make it very clear you are not a Marine.
Yeah.
Okay? But not one time did they say it's not okay to be in boot camp. Yeah. Not one time did they ever say you should be a sergeant. No. You're paying for being new. But if you strive to be better every day, boot camp ends. And the quickest way out of boot camp is to graduate on time. Don't get hurt. Don't get sick. Don't kiss your buddy to try to get kicked out. Don't be doing weird shit, okay? You fucking have a small win every day for 3.5 months. And you stack a day on a day on a day. And you incrementally get better. And you're striving to be better through boot camp every single day. You graduate on time. That's the quickest way out. You earn that Eagle Globe and Anchor. Okay, now you're not new. You're a Marine. You're not a boot, okay? Now, you're going to be new to your unit, so you're new again. So you've graduated something, but you're still going to be new at something. And this is also something that's very important to this that I didn't write down, but through a thought process I'm thinking of. As much as you strive for excellence and you accomplish something and you're a veteran at one thing, you're going to be new to the next.
That's part of life.
If you're climbing that ladder, you're going to be new at every single level that
you are. And you should be, bro, because that means you're evolving, and that means you're moving into something new. And if you're top dog and in your little, pool of puppies all your life, man, you missed out on a lot.
Right, but here's what's fun about being new repetitively after you've been new before. You don't have to drop that tool belt. Whatever you learned in boot camp, and then, okay, now you're new to School of Infantry. Okay, but you're a Marine. You've worked hard. You've got some little sleep. You've passed boot, drill instructors messing with you and doing what they do to you, whatever they do to you. A lot of motivation. We'll call it. But you've had that experience. So now when you get to School of Infantry, that was a different dynamic, man. They were training us for war. Okay, this was 2005, very early on 2005. This is brutal. There was no fuck games. It was just mentally and physically brutal because of the workload. And our instructors at School of Infantry had just gotten back from their deployments, right? So they knew firsthand what we could potentially be getting into. And it was inevitable to them. And they had pride in working. They didn't come to School of Infantry to take a break. That might have been a break for them mentally. And hey, some of these guys, we had a staff sergeant, phenomenal staff sergeant, got shot up in the knee with an AK. Dude, they're trying to get him on a helicopter to evac him. He's not letting his gun go. He's still trying to get in the fight. Just hardcore. Okay. Yeah. This dude gets out of surgery, does a little bit of rehab. They say, hey man, go to School of Infantry. He's doing runs with us. This guy was so mentally just fucking after it, dude. It just, his presence motivated you because he had a knee brace on. We knew how recent he was out of surgery. He was never in the back during the run. And we ran with boots and camis on.
Yeah.
But they didn't fuck with us. Boot camp is a lot of mental stuff, and they're breaking you. They got a culture shock. Yeah, there's some other weird shit, right? School of Infantry was like, look, gents, you're Marines now. You have responsibility. You also chose to come to the infantry. Welcome. Here's the deal. Our country is at war. 9/11 happened. Okay? It's the beginning of 2005. Like, this is not going anywhere. This is on the climb. Okay? So to them, it was inevitable that we were going to be there. And it was their responsibility as Marines to train us. Now, we were new in School of Infantry. It was okay to be new. It was not okay to fail. And why is that? Because we had learned how not to fail because we graduated boot camp.
Right.
So now, yes, even though you're new, you've also gained some responsibility. But with that responsibility gained, you've also gained some tools from graduating boot camp. Now, fast forward, for example, to me doing real estate. Look, man, I'm super brand new. But what I had to do and cried out in my car and just grab a hold of who I am is like, hey, man, You've been new before. It's okay. But don't think that you got to drop these tool belts that you've gained over time that are going to apply to this. And guess what, man? If there's anything you've got in it, it's that you don't quit and that you know how to time block, you know how to set a goal, and you know how to attack every day. And, dude, even at the highest levels, it's always going to boil down to, are you winning the day?
Well, look what's happened to us in a few years.
Dude.
From that. I mean, fuck, man. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm so big on time is going to pass anyway. And when I was talking to clients and I get a 100-pound client and I tell them, hey, it's going to be a year. Like, we're going to be working together for years, and there's going to be ups and downs. And then there's going to be 3 months where you fuck off and you don't lose any weight for those 3 months. And then we're have to play catch up a little bit. I'm like, realistically, it's what we're looking like. And, anytime anyone gave me any pushback as far as how long a goal is going to take, I'm like, is a year not going to pass? Wouldn't you rather in a year to look back and be like, fuck, I wish I started this back then?
And you got to do it right. Right? Like, you can't allow people to have, especially for you, right? Because they're trusting you as a trainer. You've done your own preps before, and you've gone through it, man. You know the mental and physical draining they're going to go through, even at the level that they're doing, because not all of them are doing shows. Some people are just trying to bend over and pick up grandkids,
Most people,
man. But here's where I talk about small wins and successes and something that's being huge. Hey, look, being able to lose 40 pounds so you can fit into a normal car, climb stairs, and pick up grandkids, that might be their huge. Your huge was first place at a bodybuilding show. It's all good. What's a 10 for someone is a 10 for someone. That might be a 3 for us. It doesn't matter. If it's a 10 for them, stress-wise, accomplishment-wise, then we must treat it as such.
100%.
And once they accomplish that, now their scale of what's a 10 is going to go higher. But in this moment, in this phase, this is what that is. And we must treat it as such, which means when they're entrusting you as a leader, man, like, you've got to go, look, this is a year. You're losing 100 pounds. And if we're going to do it the right way, and if you're going to learn diet and exercise and how to be healthy and do it the right way and not gain this weight back, listen, man, it's going to be a year. Because if you gain this weight back and you're 3 years down the road, when it comes back, you're older. It's harder. You don't want to have to ever lose this 100 pounds ever again.
It's true.
And you hear about David Goggins, not saying I'm a fan, not saying I'm not a fan, but for example, dude, he talked about losing 100 pounds twice in his life.
Yeah, dude.
Thank God. I bet you he'll tell you, thank God you're not in your fucking 50s.
Yeah.
Because there's some people, man, in their 40s and 50s, man, that they really got a lot going on, but they can't even physically move to the level they need to lose the weight. It's sad.
Yeah. But that's where I get my urgency from, man, because I understand the power of every single day and how that adds up. That's why for me, at this point now, wasn't like this before, at this point now, it's super easy just to feel that sense of urgency every day to accomplish those little wins, because I understand if I don't do this today or if I don't get this little win today, then tomorrow I'm behind, and then I'll miss a day 3 months from now, and then I'm behind, and then it's just I'm not where I could be.
Agreed.
And also it's easy when you break it down, and you're real big about breaking shit down and reverse engineering things. Okay, what needs to be done today? When you actually take the time to whiteboard something or write it on a notebook and see, oh, actually what I have to do today isn't that hard. It's just a couple little things where if I just accomplish those every single day, then it adds up.
Yeah, and I think some of that is just it's just how my brain operates. You know, I can definitely see 10 steps ahead. I think it's just embedded in me. I was trained that way. But you also got to remember too, like in the military, when they're training you for war, they're going to throw you into situational stuff. They're going to make, like we did, like we had like huge mountain towns in places we go operate and train. And what they were trying to do was take real live scenarios. And then when they would get data from overseas and something that's happened and things like that, they would try to train on it, right? And so they would try to use real scenarios to train on. So when they're getting you to write sit reps, and if you're going to go over an augment, if you're writing a 5-paragraph order, whatever you're doing, they're trying their best in training to give you something that's really happened, right? So it's not just a bunch of hypotheticals and people with egos telling you how to do something. They want to give you real stuff that's happened. But with that being said, whether you're in that environment or you're training for that environment, here's what happens. You tend to hear about a situation first. So with our brains, with how we work, in my opinion, at least from my lens, everything was situational first. It was like, hey, here's what's going on, right? And then like end state is like, well, yeah, we got to go fix this, right? So you are forced to reverse engineer. Okay, here's situation. Now you're reverse engineering men, equipment, timeline, approach, logistics, access to transportation. It's kind of reversed by nature.
And taking off a lot of nonsense, because again, that's one thing I think when we have a goal that we're trying to accomplish, we tend to focus on a lot of the other things that don't even fucking matter about reaching that goal. When if you break it down, there's literally probably 2 or 3 things you need to do every day that'll get you to that goal.
At least, correct. At least starting there.
Yes.
Just
right,
going,
right.
hey, what's wrong in my life? Go there. You know, and like anytime like I'm kind of shaken, you know, if I'm kind of like off, man, I go right back to what's my diet look like? What's my water intake look like? What's my sleep look like? And what's my exercise look like?
2 or 3 things.
And every gosh darn time, one of them is just sitting there giggling at me.
Yep.
Right? Oh, you don't drink water, motherfucker. Like, you know what, man? Interesting. But being brilliant at the basics, right? And having these 4 fundamentals for myself, I know that I'm going to operate at the highest level for me. And if I'm operating at the highest level with rest and clarity and nutrition for fuel and water for all those benefits, I'm going to be able to be a problem solver and work at my highest ability. Not someone else's, but mine, right? But those are huge as far as just engineering that. So if you're in a hard place, if you're diving into stuff, I promise you, it's okay to go, you know what? I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day, and I'm going to get to the gym 5 days a week. Hey, just start there. Everything else can wait. Just get those 2 things down. And when you get those 2 things down, believe it or not, when you exercise more, you're not craving junk as much. You're not eating as much of that crap. So all of a sudden, naturally, your food is going to start to alter and you're not eating as much. And when you're eating, it's a little different. And naturally, that starts to come into play and you go, oh, okay, but hey, I've already kind of like gotten these 2 things going. I'm good there. I can take on more.
Yeah.
Let me take on my diet now that I've dialed in my workouts and my water intake.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
And then naturally, you're going to start figuring out like where to get rest, how to get rest. And I promise you, when you're attacking your day, man, you're okay to go to sleep because you're at peace with what you've accomplished. Not too much is going to keep you up. And if it is, that's a whole nother conversation. Everybody has to kind of tackle that. I've got stuff that I tackle, you know, sometimes on a nightly basis. Sometimes I can't shut off. I've got to figure that out, you know, but man, it's huge. But I promise you, if you're good in these 4 fundamentals and then like, hey, I'm not sleeping, I promise you I'm going to find my solution. I'm going to figure it out because I'm operating at a high level for myself. If there's a challenge because I can't shut my brain off, I'm going to find the answer. Well, the answer is playing with my kids. I got to find like, you know what? I need to have a decompression window before bed because if I just go work, go to bed, my brain is running.
It's sprinting, yeah.
But if I go work, I give myself time to shut it off and go, okay, hey, I'm at a stopping point for today. And then I go play with my kids. I enjoy my family. Dude, I love them so much that I already start compartmentalizing by just watching Cash throw shit. Yeah, right? Dude. I'm laughing and he's playing with his big sister. And naturally, I'm just compartmentalizing. And then I allow that to just be enjoyed and decompress myself. And then I naturally end up, hey, you take a shower, you go to bed. And before you know it, nothing's on your mind. You know, or sometimes if something still is, write it down. Hey, that's man, we just got to get to this tomorrow. Write it down so you don't forget it. Put it in your notes. You know, I were talking last night at 10:30, and I'm like solving world peace. And bless your heart, you answer the phone, idiot. Right? But you know, I'm just gonna call back again. But give me 5 minutes. Let me say what I got on my chest. Come up with a plan for the next day, and then we're both gonna sleep better.
But that's up great too.
But just thinking outside the box and knowing yourself better, I promise you, embracing the phase that you're in, being new, having small wins while striving to be better, you're going to learn so much about yourself. You'll be able to handle the high level because you've earned it. But if you're faking the funk and you're pretending to be here, it's going to crash.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to see right through you, or you're going to be tasked with something that you can't handle, that people are expecting you to handle. And it's not fair. Not fair to yourself, not fair to that client, whatever it may be. But I promise you, it's an injustice to your story, to your life, to finding who you are and having the ability, man. Like once you've owned a car for a long time, you know it's twerks, right?
Yep.
A new one you don't. But I promise you, going through these phases with yourself and being able to handle small wins so you can be prepared for the big ones. Being able to handle smaller stressors so you can handle the big ones. This has to be here, so man. True. You're not going to be able to be a team leader. You're not a productive sergeant. You're not a productive guy anywhere in the Marine Corps if you can't even figure out how to get yourself and your other Marines that are around you through boot camp. And they teach you teamwork and a lot of stuff from the get-go. a lot of stuff you're not even realizing until you look back at it. But if you can't handle stuff here, okay, how are you going to handle it here? And I promise you, dude, the one thing I took away from boot camp is they said, hey, guys, this is the easiest it's ever going to be. And you're like, oh, shut up. You're fucking, you just want to be on a poster. Man. You're trying to say some shit. Here's the deal. The fuck games went away. The Marine Corps incrementally got harder because responsibility and execution was rested upon you. And look, man, it's real. Our country was at war. This is no longer about fuck games. You wish it was just that. If you don't perform, if you're not proficient, if you're dishonest in that world, man, right? You're in the infantry, whatever you are. You're a machine gunner, like, hey, man, you know how to disassemble and reassemble that machine gun? Yeah, I got it, Sarge. And that sergeant's improficient enough to not test you time and time again under stress, in the weather, in the dark. And then all of a sudden, but then you take it upon yourself not to say, no, I need more practice. You're just like, yeah, I got it because you're being lazy because it's Friday and you want to go off on the weekend. And then you're in theater, right? Then you're getting in a firefight and that weapon jams.
Shit.
Well, guys die.
Yeah.
Right? So we've talked about this before, training scared, right? There's an element to training scared, but like, look, man, like being dishonest and saying things like that, my one of the hardest challenges for me in business is, look, man, there's a lot of fake in business. Even more so, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and fake in the entrepreneur and in the real estate world about who people are, what they're all about, what they're good at, what their achievements are, what it's not. I see it from a different lens. So for me personally, I have to be very careful how I treat people if I think there's smoke and mirrors there, because maybe they don't know the harm they're doing. Maybe they can't speak to my perception on how insulting that is if you're going to fake it. It's not fair for me to just go doing that. But at the same time, I got to be true to myself and understand that I can't associate with you either, right? So that's a battle for me, man. But this all derives from just embracing the phase that you're in, being okay to be new, but having small wins and understanding how to celebrate them. Give yourself a timeline on when to achieve stuff. Strive to be better, because I promise you, phase one, this is not who you are. It's where you're at. But this, I promise you, is going to be the foundation, the building block of who you become. And you're not going to handle who you want to become if you can't handle it here.
It's true.
And it's a disservice to everyone if you're not doing that. So I'm going to leave everyone with this. Embrace your phase. Be proud of yourself for your small wins. Have some pride in keeping wins for yourself too, by the way. Sometimes it's good to just feel good about something you did and just keeping it here.
Agree.
Have that. But if you want to have that and not allow them to be exhausted, you got to give yourself a timeline, okay? Like, and I gave that real estate school exam as an example. Give your goals deadlines. That way your small wins are celebrated, but they're short-lived like they should be, and you keep laying one domino down after the other. And before you know it, man, you're in that workflow and you're hitting that stride and you're prepared for that next level. But please embrace that and don't be ashamed of where you're at. Just understand it's where you're at. It's not who you are unless you decide not to get better. If you decide not to, then this is who you are. Super important.
Good stuff, bro.
Love you, man.
Love you, dude.
Happy Tuesday,
Thanks
everyone.
For listening, guys. Day $1 0.
Out.
We out.